Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, and I am glad to be back here with you guys. Boy, the last 24 hours has been a very stressful time for quite a few people, and then for other people, you've just been brushing dirt off your shoulders. I guess that's how you do it. We'll talk about all of that tonight. We'll cover everything that has gone on in the last 24 hours with the 2020 presidential election. Yesterday was election day, the big day, but right now we have a lot of votes that are still out, have not been counted for. So I have a great group of people who will be joining me tonight to talk about everything that has gone on. Our co-host this evening is no stranger, now the longest running co-host in the co-host chair. Let me see, entrepreneur, thought leader, best sweet potato pie baker I know this side of the Mississippi, and all around great friend, the one and only Miss Kay Renee is back. Give it up for Kay
Hi,
Renee.
everyone. Hi,
Hey,
Chad.
darling. Hey, honey. How are you?
Oh, goodness gracious. We made it through yesterday, I tell you.
Oh my God. But everybody was on 10 yesterday on
You're not
social
lying.
media. The news anchor people were on 10.
They
Everybody.
were.
I don't know. It's just scary to me that we are in such a panic about everything right now.
I know. I know. And the one good thing I will say, the Democratic candidate, he's really trying to let people know, stay patient. Let's stay the course. Let's be
Right,
calm about this.
right,
This
right.
happens every 4 years.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like, you know, Kay Renee, I have to think about this. We are in the middle of a pandemic right
I
now. So
know.
that's something that we've never been through before.
I
And so,
know.
wait a minute, I was thinking about the pandemic of what was it, 1920 or 1919,
It was like
1920?
1918, 1919. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they were in the middle of a pandemic and it was election season too. So keep in mind, them people did not have Facebook,
Nope.
Instagram. They didn't have
Nope.
look, they
Nope.
probably was
No
dealing with what?
telephone, nothing.
Telegraph, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Right.
That's right.
So yeah, so I mean, you got to really think about, be patient, and what is to come to us will come to us, correct?
Amen.
You
Amen.
sure? All right.
I'm
So how
very
are
sure.
you? How's your weekend been?
It's been fine. As I said, I had done my civic duty 3 weeks ago. So,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure everyone had the opportunity to do their civic duty. As you've always spoken on your show, it's free. It's not something that you have to pay for. And
No.
unfortunately, our ancestors, my ancestors, your ancestors, they died for this right. There's been stories about whenever you go to register to vote in the African American community, you had to take certain tests, a literacy test. Guess how many marbles in the jar? Or if you did not know the preamble, that's crazy. You don't have to do that now. So, you know, we've we've made a statement. Over 104 million people had early voted,
Yes.
and I think the total is like 150 million or so. As you said earlier, all the votes have not been counted. So we will know when we're supposed to know. Yes, it's now not nail biting. I still got all my nails. Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
but it will happen like it's supposed, as our spiritual mother would always say, or to us, everything happens in divine order.
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
bad, or
Okay.
indifferent.
Right, right. And so tonight, later on in the show, we're going to talk about win, lose, or draw,
Yes.
because we've even had a candidate who has now withdrawn or conceded to the other candidates. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and we'll talk about some of the missing votes. And there are protesters on both sides of this. There are those that want the vote to be stopped, and then there are others that want the votes to continue to be counted. All right. Well, with that being said, today is National Stress Awareness Day, and it's always the first Wednesday in November to aim to reduce stress factors in your life. And so, Kay Renee, everybody on social media was on a million. I mean,
Yes.
we talking about Monday all the way yesterday
And even
to
up until when we came on the air today.
oh yes, yes. Everybody's on 100 times 10 on steroid shots.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to, tell everybody to relax, chill, figure out what they can do to make themselves feel better. What are some of your techniques you use? And let me see if we have anything in common.
Well, one, I really didn't stress about this. I saw
Yes.
the post on social media and I went to bed around 10:30ish. I said, you know what?
Okay.
And I just said, Lord, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I did my part and I'm
Right.
going to sleep. But how I relieve stress, I use CBD, which definitely helps the anxiety a bit. And just really, not really focusing on, there's something we can't control. We can't
No.
control this outcome now. We've
No.
done, everyone who registered to vote, everyone who voted, they've
Right.
done their part. Now we have to wait for the results. So,
Hmm.
for me, I did not want to, not saying call, friends and say, oh, what's going on? Because that can agitate people. You don't want to do that. So,
Right.
as I said, for me, when I did, I just went to sleep. I said a prayer. I said, Lord, you're going to handle it the way it's supposed to be handled. And I had a good night's sleep last night.
Okay.
And I
All
don't,
right.
you don't worry. I don't worry about things you can't control. This I can't control.
Well, you know what I said on social media last night, that election night is a perfect night to clean out a closet.
Yes, I
Because if
saw
you if
that.
you really think about it, it is now time for you to put your summer things up and bring your fall and winter things out. But now
Mhm.
the weather here in Chicago is so
Okay.
wonderful.
I know.
This is the first time the first week of November has been this nice since
Yes.
1956.
Wow.
Can you
Wow.
believe it? Right. This will be the
I
first
wasn't
time.
born then. I
I
wasn't even
know.
born yet.
Right. This has been the first time Chicago has had 70-degree beautiful weather since 1956.
But when I hear that and now I experience it, I pray that we don't have a bad winter, because typically we have a nice seasonal fall,
Right.
November towards December. I get worried about what happens in December and January. So I'm just praying that if we can have a moderate
Yes.
November and a moderate December, we won't have that much cold weather in January. So, but we'll see.
Well, the funniest thing is my birthday is exactly 2 Mondays from now.
I
And I
know.
remember as a child, some birthdays would be okay weather-wise, and
Hmm.
other birthdays would be just horrible, where the
Right.
party would have to be canceled because it was raining really bad or
Hmm.
snowing really bad. So,
Hmm.
I'm just hoping that, we continue to have this wonderful weather. And please do not tell me this is what we're to expect in the future. I won't be able to take it, Kay Renee. I can't. I can't. I
Now
can't
we got what did Governor Stratton, Lieutenant Governor Stratton said in her post? Breathe. At the end
breathe.
of the day, you must be able to breathe.
Just
Let's just
breathe.
do the breathe. Just do woosah. That's all
Right.
you need. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Woosah. That's
Yes.
right. That's
Breathe
right.
in, breathe out. All right. Well,
That's
here's
right.
some tips we want to talk to you guys about. Really, put your stress under control. Put it in check.
Yes.
Really, we have been under quarantine now for what, almost 9 months.
Yes.
And really, that's the amount of time it takes for a baby to be delivered. So just right.
Yes.
Yes. So I can only imagine the number of people who are very stressed out, feeling fatigued,
Mhm.
all of that. So develop coping skills for your anxiety. So that might
Yes.
be pick up a hobby, that might be start writing something, that might
Mhm.
be something like I did last night, clean out a closet, switch over the clothes, whatever it
Mhm.
is that can help with your anxiety. Find something to help soothe that anxiety. Now, most people turn to drugs, sex, and alcohol, okay, Renee,
I
which
know.
right, right. Well, I noticed you didn't say that was a bad thing, but
I One of the three is not a bad thing. Now y'all figure out which one I'm talking about.
I'll leave that where that's at. I
We're
just
gonna
noticed
leave
you,
that one alone.
you didn't say not one thing about, well, that may not be the best way to go with that, but you right, okay.
Two of the things right, but one of them, I wouldn't have a
Well,
problem with that. So
they're also
y'all figure
saying
it
that
out.
STD numbers are high right now.
I
Sexually
bet.
transmitted. They said they are very high, and it's across all age ranges. So
I,
it's yeah, that's
I
nasty.
have nothing to say. I plead the fifth on that one.
Okay. All right. Our next tip is identify and let go of things that you cannot change.
Exactly.
Anything that you cannot change, let it go. It's beyond your pay grade. It's
That's
beyond
right.
your thought process. It's beyond anything. Stop harboring other people's ill wills. Stop
And that's
harboring
part
your
of this.
own ill wills. Yeah.
And that's part of the serenity prayer. I've always shared my late father was a recovering alcoholic, and that's part of the prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the
Right.
courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to
Yeah.
know the difference.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
very, very well said. Absolutely.
Mhm.
The next thing on the list is exercise can help you to get rid of some of that built up anxiety. So even if you don't do anything but 20 to 30 minutes of good moving around, that's great. I tell people my favorite thing is to, when I do have to go grocery shopping, is to walk the entire store. you know
Yes.
yeah, walk the
Yes.
entire store. That's great exercise. Move around, at least you moving and doing some things. The
Hmm.
next thing that we want to remind everybody, I know we've all been cooking. Believe it or not, cooking flour is the hardest thing. Baking flour is the hardest thing to come by, because so many people are
Right. That
at
makes
home
sense.
baking now.
That makes
And
sense.
so, right, eat a balanced diet. And don't forget, when you do eat a balanced diet, it helps you cope with stress a little bit better, because
It
we,
does.
we like them potato chips and them
Yes,
gooey
we
munchies.
do.
And oh yeah, I
We
know.
do.
Don't Why are potato chips so damn good? That's what I
I
want to
don't
know.
know. Especially J's. Now, if you're gonna have any.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love my J's and love my Pringles. But honestly, I have not had potato chips in almost 7 months.
Really?
Yeah. When I made the decision to
Wow.
change, my lifestyle and I lost the 26 pounds, that's one, I cut that out and I don't miss it. But no, I haven't had potato chips in a while.
Oh my God. Now see, I am a potato chip connoisseur.
All right
Do I,
now.
do I need to say that
What's your
again?
favorite flavor?
I am I can't even say it again. You can't say that two times fast. I am a
Potato chip
potato chip
connoisseur.
connoisseur. I am. Okay, so I love any type of kettle chip. Kettle chips are the
Oh, okay.
best. But then I love kettle chips where they've explored the flavor. So like
Right.
rosemary and
Mhm.
parmesan, let's say maybe onion and pineapple or jalapeno
Oh,
or something
okay.
like that. So I mean, and then here's the deal. I'm also a connoisseur of off-brand potato chips and the quality and taste of them as well too. Like I could do a
Gotcha.
whole thing on chips. I just love them. Yeah.
Well, good for you. Well, again, it's all in moderation. If you're going to
Yeah.
have potato chips, just have them in moderation.
Right. I agree 100%.
Hmm.
All right. Well, Kay Renee, let's give the latest COVID-19 update numbers for the day. The
Hmm.
Illinois Department of Public Health has now stated that there were 71,857 tests
Wow.
reported in the last 24 hours. So 71,857 tests were given. The state
Hmm.
has now reported 4,400, wait, 4,400, girl, I can't even say it.
That's okay.
437,556 cases since the pandemic has started. So, and
Wow.
our statewide positivity rate is now 8.5. I don't have the numbers. Oh, wait a minute. I had them and I must have clipped them out of here. What our caseload was like for the day. I don't know why I couldn't read that doggone number. Good Lord Almighty. Okay, here we go. So we had 7,538 new known cases, and we
Hmm.
had 55 additional deaths in the last 24 hours. Our numbers are
Wow.
still up there.
But I did, when you said the positivity rate, it did go down from Monday because I was listening yesterday in the news. It was like 9 point something. So
You know
it
what?
did
That's what
go down a
somebody
little
said
bit.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
somebody
did go
did say it.
down.
Okay, so
Hmm.
it's 8.5% now. And
So
so,
it did go down just
yeah,
a bit, just a skosh.
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's all right. We'll
that's
remind
right.
everybody what they need to do. We need to
Right.
send out some congratulations. Shout out to Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox.
Yes.
She won 4 more years as our state's attorney. So big
Mhm.
round of applause for Kim Fox.
Yes.
Shout out for
Yeah.
Kim Fox, sister girl doing
Yes.
the doggone thing. Yes. And then we also want to shout out Democratic U.S. House Representative, second congressional district. Robin Kelly won again as well
Yes. She
too.
won
Yes,
again.
second
Yes.
congressional district, Robin Kelly. So congratulations to her. We
But
appreciate her.
there's one contest that I don't know if we still know the winner,
Which
and
one?
that is with Lauren Underwood, who is the freshman congresswoman.
Yes.
I think is the 14th district, and she's running against Bill Oberwise. You know, the
Mhm.
Oberwise. And so that's a tough contest. So I hope she can pull it out, but it's gonna be tough.
I got a question to ask. I'm glad you brought Oberweis up. See, I was
Mhm.
never able to ask this on my radio show because I'd have got in trouble. But the Southside pastor is a supporter of Oberweis. And so I'm wondering, yeah, the rooftop pastor. He was
Oh,
all in
really?
honey, he was all in his commercials, telling
Oh,
people like,
wow.
oh, absolutely, darling. He was all in the man's commercials. And so I'm
Oh,
wondering why we don't have an Oberweis in the neighborhood, or why Oberweis ain't never handed out no samples, or any of that kind of
right.
stuff. And here's the
It-
deal. Where's that community center he walked across the country for?
right.
Yeah, whatever happened to that, Pastor Brooks? Whatever happened? So, you know what I'm saying? If you so cool with Oberweis, it need to be an Oberweis out here on the south side so these kids would
I
have a
agree.
job. I mean, that's
I
just my,
agree.
you know what I'm saying?
You've already put it out there. Let's see what happens.
Right. Okay. All right. So I just want to put that out there. I can never
Okay.
say that on my other show. I can get that off my checklist. Right. And no shade. No shade
At
whatsoever.
all. That's right.
If you support Oberweis, bruh, how come there's not an Oberweis over there in that neighborhood that could really use that
Exactly.
economic boom?
I agree.
McDonald's left the neighborhood and didn't even come back. Over there on 62nd, 63rd
I,
and King Drive.
I know where you're talking about.
Early McDonald's leave, you got a problem.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's
Exactly.
continue on in our news stories. K Renee, anything else you need to bring up?
Now we're gonna have a long talk coming in the next 10 minutes. So I mean that's just been overboarding with the news media. Heck, the View was preempted because of what's been happening with the election. If the View gets preempted, it's some serious business, right?
So I was watching the competing station, and these poor people, Chuck Todd has been on the air now, I know, for the last look like 3 days. And these people are just not, you're right. It's nonstop coverage of this election to the point that they're biting at each other on the TV now.
I
Like, what's
know.
the numbers? Anything changed? And here we
Yeah.
are. And I'm just like, oh my God, all of y'all need a chewable or edible or
Need a
something.
drink.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just horrible. It is just,
I
oh
know.
my
And
God.
we talk about stress. There's been pandemic COVID stress, and then now you got election stress. So
Right.
we gotta do what? We just gotta breathe. Woosah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
just gotta do that. Because
And
we're gonna get through this.
we are. And that's what we want to encourage people. Don't give up
Right.
hope. Don't feel as if your candidate has lost any of that unless you voted for who, but harmony is not over. I posted on my social media page. Just keep that in mind. And then don't forget, we're waiting for the final results. Will it be?
Right.
Yes. Will it be Golden Bidens? Will it? It could be. Or could it be Lucky Trumps? Let's try this again. Could it be Golden Bidens? Or could it be Lucky Trumps? Yeah. Okay. So we'll find out. We'll see.
We will.
So just stay patient, just stay faithful, and it'll all come in due time, you guys. All right. So Kay Renee, you got your mask, darling.
Of course, darling.
All
I know what
right.
time it is.
I feel like
Here we
flight
go.
attendant. Look, the flight attendant demo. All right, so
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, you guys all know we're in the midst of a global pandemic right now, and the best way to stop spreading this virus is if we are to wear our face coverings or our masks. And so each and every night on the show, we demonstrate to you how you are to wear your mask. So you just take it, pull it over your ears, make sure you cover your
Mm-hmm.
nose and your mouth. Most importantly, wear your mask. You pretty much can
Mm-hmm.
get masks now to match your outfit, your mood. They have
Yes.
sayings on them. Some of them are so thin that really is like you shouldn't even be selling this. But then you can buy shields to now put inside
Yes.
your mask. You can do all of that. So please wear your mask. We're talking about sanitizing. Please make sure you wash your hands. Wash your hands. Soap and water is number one. But if
Yes.
you don't have soap and water, hand sanitizer will do the
Yep.
trick. Yes, gone girl. I like how you rubbing them hands together. Look, we could have one of them sound shows, right?
Okay.
That was about erotic. Look, yours is real erotic, right? Yes. Okay, very good.
You you
Sanitize.
you you do remember what book I wrote, right?
Yeah, I know. I know. Your hands was all erotic and stuff. I was like, wait a minute. Now don't think about another business we can start. You know, this is 2021 is the year of new businesses. So, we might have to have you on a microphone just rubbing your hands together. 99 cents a minute. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just okay. All right. So let's move on. Social distance. Social distance.
Yes.
Keep your
Important.
distance. Yeah, make sure to get people up off of you. Yeah, don't get off of me, get off of you, all of that good. Another thing we
Absolutely.
want you guys to remember is if you're not feeling well, please do not jeopardize other people, yourself, your family, your loved ones. Stay your ass in the
At
house. It's easy,
home.
it's simple. Call your job, tell them you can't come, call whoever. You can't come. Yeah, tell people don't be
Just
around you
call like
like
this.
that.
Say,
Yeah,
I'll do it
yeah.
for you. All right.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I can't. I'm just not feeling well. I don't think I need to come in today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And then look, and then rub your hands. Rub your hands like you did. Oh yeah. See, I definitely would. I'd be like, girl, take a month off. Take a month off. Yes, I would. Yes, amen. Yes. So there you go. So if you're not feeling well, follow those particular rules. All right. Oh, we got some good
Absolutely.
feedback. I love Pam. Pam says she is with the golden biting. That's right.
All
Very
right
good.
now. I like that.
Okay, Renee. See,
Oh,
love
thank
your
you,
see there.
Susan.
Yes.
Wait, let me tell you, Susan, the person who did my hair is I keep it in the family. Her name is Miss Deirdre Mason. So if you want her information, I can definitely send that to you because she's phenomenal. She's been doing my hair for over 10 years. So
Yeah,
thank
you,
you for
you
saying
got
that.
you got that butter laid, baby. You
Hey,
do.
gotta
Yeah.
keep it laid.
Look, between rubbing your hands in that laid hair, hey. All right.
Hey,
Let's get back. See, we all stir crazy. We are all stir crazy. That's why this show
that's
is
how
what
you
we need.
relieve stress,
Yes,
though.
this is how you relieve stress. So
That's
keep in
right.
mind today is National Stress Awareness Day. So if you know of anybody suffering or in need, please try to reach out, help them, get the
Amen.
help that they need. But you guys
Absolutely.
figure out some things that you can do to keep yourself from being so stressed out. All right, let's see.
Absolutely.
What else do we need to talk about before we bring our other guests on? Because I can't wait. I cannot. I
Oh, I'm
cannot.
just trying to think. As I said, I was trying to think today. I'm like, what can we talk about? But heck, nothing to talk about because everybody talking about the election.
Yes,
I'm just
yes,
thinking about, even celebrities. They were involved yesterday doing concerts the day before election eve. You saw John Legend and his wife Chrissy Teigen. You saw Lady Gaga. I mean, she really was letting everybody know who she felt it was going to win. I
right.
mean, there've been a lot of participation throughout the country with actors, celebrity, everybody. So,
Yes.
one good thing that's come out of this is the fact that people are recognizing truly that their vote counts. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to think, I'm like, what can we talk about besides the election? Because again, everything has been preempted. I
Yes.
mean, after yesterday, it's like you can't find nothing except reruns.
No, you know what's so funny? I actually watch, you're right, reruns or I watched The King of Queens a couple of times. I went to Netflix and did something because no, you're right. There's no fresh television on right
Nothing.
now. None.
Nothing.
And here's the
Not even
deal.
my favorite, Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have Nots. I love that
Right.
show.
Yeah.
That won't be coming aboard to the. I think it'll be. I know the new premiere is coming. The season premiere is coming later this month. But
Yeah.
you can't even. Oh, she's asking what's up with Wendy. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know if you saw one of her shows where Wendy was kind of spaced out. I
Yeah.
don't know what's up with that.
She a lot of people saying that Wendy is going through some things right now, and then they're
Yeah.
saying that the immune system disorder that she has makes her kind of act like that from time to time or whatever. So I don't know. I just, I just, she looks different to me, and I pray for a speedy recovery, and that she
Yeah.
gets the help that she deserves. But Wendy may have to take a step back from her television duties, because they had tried to pull
Probably.
that with her recently, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Oh, I know what I can talk to you about. I'm a
What?
Real Housewives person. I love the franchise. The
Yes.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Miss Erica Jane,
Uh-huh.
she divorced her husband of
Really?
21 years. Yes. And there's
Why?
always been that talk about the age difference, because there's a significant age difference. She 49, he 81, but they getting a divorce. Can you imagine that?
Wait a minute now. She how old and he how old?
He's 81 and she 49. They were married for 21 years and no prenup. Now how about
Well,
that?
now, first of all, she probably is deprived in a lot of different ways. I know she
Ah,
got a lot of money. I know, God knows it's probably a lot of money involved. But
of course.
a 49-year-old woman is
Hmm.
still wanting to be caressed, and I don't know, but I guarantee you, Mr. 80-year-old, I mean, he might. I'm not, I'm not, but
Um,
she probably wants to, get her some waggity waggity wing 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 and find out somebody else young. She probably
she
done
is.
had that.
I was shocked to hear. I'm like, what? She's getting divorced. And again, she's always defended their marriage, saying, yeah, everybody talks about our age difference, but and she was her comment was, you have a 21-year marriage and then come to me. But something must have happened where, because I remember I saw the last season, and they seemed very happy because he's been on the show, not as often of course as she is, but it seemed like he supported her, when she did the Broadway show Chicago. He was
Right.
very proud of her, and she has this persona, Erica Jane. So I was kind of shocked to hear that they're divorcing, but
Well, I don't know, but that could be it. Now, just watch, mark my words. If she show up with a younger dude that
oh,
had a
we know it.
huge,
We know
right,
what time that is. Okay,
right, yeah. So I don't know, but we wish her the best. Now, to
I
my
do.
understanding, the Real Housewives of Atlanta will be welcoming a new housewife,
I
and she
heard.
is a Chicagoan.
I
And to
heard.
my understanding, Miss Drew Sonora is joining the Housewives of Atlanta.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. I didn't know her name. I heard she was from Chicago. And
Yes.
I said, this is going to be interesting. Just like New York, they're adding a sister to the New
Right.
York franchise, Ebony Williams.
Okay.
So, yes.
Right. Yes. Hmm.
That's about right, Booker
Yep.
T.
Yep.
Um, so that's that season, or that franchise, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, is going to be interesting because we know who's not going to be on there, Miss Lynthia Leaks, or better known as Nene.
Nene.
Um,
Yes.
so it's going to be a different, I think, a dynamic by her not being there, and so
Hmm.
hopefully they've been able to carry the show without her.
Yes.
I'm just hoping that I think there was some issues. The reason why she walked away. She didn't walk away on her own.
Who
I
Nene?
truly believe she was. Yeah, I believe she was given a decision, and she
Well,
said, "I'm done."
here's the deal. Nene, gone girl. Right now more than ever, we need to see more positive figures on television.
We
We need to
do.
see more positive figures in our music and everything.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, Nene is good for what Nene's good for, but I'm not
Right.
trying to hear all that mess and drama.
I
Again,
agree.
going through
I
a
agree.
global pandemic. We're living in a world right now of so much uncertainty. And you
I
mean to
agree.
tell me I'm getting ready to sit here and watch weed snatching and cussing and all. No, I'm good. I don't need any
Right.
of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. So again, Lanithia played herself. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
she did that and then some. So
Right.
you just have to know when it's your time to walk to move on, and it'll be interesting to see the new housewife, the Chicagoan, uh,
Yes.
go
Yes.
into the fold.
Yes, Drew Sonora. I hope to get her on one night so we can talk. That would be really good.
Absolutely.
Y'all
Oh,
hook that
absolutely.
up. That's right. That would be great because that
Absolutely.
is beautiful. All right. Well, Kay Renee, anything else we need to cover and talk about, my darling?
I think we covered some things, dear. I know
I
we're
do
getting ready for
too.
our two guests coming aboard. I'm excited because we're gonna have some chitter and some chatter to talk about this
Oh
election.
yeah, honey. You know, whenever Miss Kim is here with us, I just
Yeah,
love it. Look, I was like,
yeah,
honey, I got to have Miss Kim. And then Kevin,
absolutely.
Kevin had nerve enough to, make a statement on social media earlier today. You know, Kevin is just like a parakeet. He'll poop and walk away from it. And then by the time everybody done figured out he done pooped, it's a
Oh
big
no,
old mess. And then
oh no.
so I said, I hadn't even read his post. And I said, nope. I said, Kevin, the spirit told me to call you and book you on this show tonight. So I didn't even know,
Oh
so we'll
wow,
talk about all of this because the last 24 hours have been just really surreal to say the
it has.
least. And we still do not have a president.
We
All right.
don't.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, today is National, let me get it right, Stress Awareness Day. And if any of you all are feeling any extra particular stress in your life and you may need some help, we're asking that you reach out to the National Alliance of Mental Illness. They have a 24-hour helpline. The number is 800-950-6264. Again, that's 800-950-6264. And they'll be able to help you guys out. But just keep your head up. Don't worry about this election.
Right.
Things are going to get better. It is what it is. And just know God is in control of all of this.
That's right.
Yes. All right.
That's right.
Very good. Well, for those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, coming to you from the green room. And in that box next to me is our co-host, Miss Kay Renee, the creator of Karen's Nuggets of Wisdom. Yes.
Of knowledge. Of knowledge.
But yes, well, I say wisdom because it is wisdom, but it's
Okay.
knowledge. Karen's
Yes.
Nuggets of Knowledge is the
Of
brand name,
knowledge.
but it's
Yes.
really it's Nuggets of Wisdom every day that just is so impactful. You guys can see her on all social media, Facebook and on YouTube. Check her out. What else is going on with you? Nothing else we need to know about you. Everybody likes
Well,
your hair tonight.
you know what's coming up even though with this pandemic, Thanksgiving is going to be kind of different, but you know what I do during the holidays? I bake my world famous sweet potato pies. And so
Mm-hmm.
I said this to you. If anyone is still interested in purchasing, you can let me know because I'm only taking orders up until Saturday. That's
And tell them you
11
only taking them locally too.
locally. I won't be shipping any pies at
Right.
all because of this
Right.
pandemic and because of the postal service. I want to make sure if I did try to ship it, you wouldn't get it. So all
Right.
local orders. If you want to purchase a sweet potato pie, inbox me and my Facebook, K Renee Mason, or Karen's Nuggets of Knowledge. I'm on Instagram at Karen's_Nuggets, and then
Yes.
I'll take care of you.
Okay, very good. Well, that's what I want to hear. Now you got me hungry for some sweet potato pie.
You
Oh,
know I
that's
got you
horrible.
covered. Don't you even worry about it.
Well,
I got
thank
you
you,
covered.
darling. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. All right. So
Back
coming
at you.
up next is two of my favorite people when it comes to talking about current hot topic issues. Kay Renee is the queen of going toe to toe with me. But when we need to add more opinions and thoughts and ideas, I thought of these two great people. Our first guest is Miss Kim Coleman, aka Speak Sister Speak. No, Sister, Lord, I get it wrong every time, but she'll clear it up. Let's bring her on.
Okay.
Y'all know. Right. Sister Girl Speaks. I get it
Girl
wrong.
speaks.
Hey, Kim. Hey.
Hey,
How y'all
go.
Right.
doing?
Sister girl.
Good to see you tonight. How
There
are
we
you?
go.
Good to see you. I'm doing good, doing very good. I went through kind of a harrowing week. K
She's
Renee
coming on.
knows.
Can you see her?
We lost power here. We had a big
Yeah.
ice storm, and so almost 500,000 people lost
Yes.
power. And I was one of those people. So, but I was in a hotel, and it was all good. So I got power day before yesterday.
Wow. So wait a minute. What do you do when something like that happens? I mean, we talking about your refrigerator, freezer. I mean,
well, you know what? I had unfortunately I had not. I had just said I wanted to go grocery shopping that day. I had just said it, and I didn't go. So I had barely had enough in my refrigerator. So that was good. I had like a couple salads and some stuff, which I took to the hotel with me.
Okay.
But you know, other people I know weren't so lucky.
Right.
But 211, the 211 place is helping people refurbish their food. We still have people who are out of power now. They're finding people places to stay. Mother Nature came in and she got us. She got us.
So once we bring Kevin in, I got to even find out how did this impact election day? I mean, you know, because I understand
it didn't impact. Yeah, it didn't. They made sure that all of the places where you could vote, the power was up.
Okay.
In fact, last Saturday, I went to try to go and early vote. That line was out the door. I mean, miles and miles of people trying to get into the parking lot. It was over a 5-hour wait. So I ended up going yesterday. I ended up going yesterday, and I think I waited 15 minutes. So,
wow. Okay. All right. Well, joining the conversation tonight is our good friend, music executive, globetrotter, all around great guy, recent birthday boy as well, too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, the creative man behind Two Guard Media, the one and only Mr. Kevin Ross. What up, Kevin?
What's up? What's up? How are you guys doing?
Kevin.
Hey,
Kevin. How are those two queens? How you two queens doing over there?
Good. How are you?
We're blessed. Good.
Fantastic. Kim, you have my prayers, and you know, hoping everything can get back to some semblance of normalcy as quickly as possible for you.
Yes,
definitely that.
Thank you very much.
I'm all good. Art, thank you so much for having me on again. As usual, I am honored beyond measure, and as you can see, I got my Malcolm X pose. This is the Malcolm X pose because this is going to be that type of conversation. So if you have some, I'll tell you guests now, if there's someone that's easily offended, I'm here to tell the truth. That's where we are today.
The truth.
See the shirt? See that shirt?
Yeah,
John.
I love it. I love it. I do. Yeah, that's a beautiful shirt. And that's what we're here for. I could not think of, 3 other people who I'd want to even talk about the last 24 hours with than you 3. And so I'm getting ready to just even get started with, first of all, the places that ended up voting for Trump are some of the places I had once thought about moving, somewhere like Florida. Places like, and so it just makes my mind wonder, like, you got to be kidding me. And I think about the number of people that retire and go to these places and just to think, how are they even functioning and operating that, the majority would go for Trump like that.
Right. Well, let's start off a little bit with, kind of the makeup of Florida and what I believe happened, just my observations over this last week. One of the things the pandemic has done for me, it's taught me to be a lot more observant and to read more, study more, understand more, and try to, so that I can have a real concept of the culture that we're in and the world that we're in, because I just turned 57, and we are in a completely different place than we were when I was 47, when I was 37, when I was 27, and even 17. I mean, we've been through 8 to 10 presidents, since I was born, 1963. We have seen a lot of shifting. So Florida, here's the deal with Florida. So I kind of watched a story about some older residents in a very storied part of Florida, a retirement community that has traditionally been Republican. A good half of them, and a lot of them, I'll actually add to that, a good number of them were scared to say that they were not going to vote for Donald Trump this time around. They feel that he does not represent the office properly. They feel that he has mishandled a pandemic that is ultra dangerous to them, of all people.
Right.
They feel that he simply has not handled the office well. And so they decided that they were going to switch to Biden. So it's interesting to listen to people talk about their different ideologies. You have African-American men who voted for Trump. A lot of African-American men voted for Donald Trump this time around. I've listened to a lot of...
18%, Kevin, 18% of African-American men voted for Trump.
Exactly. Exactly. And I actually had a conversation with a very good friend of mine today, a very close friend. He's a music producer in LA, and I was stunned. We've been friends for years. I did not know he was a Trump supporter. I did not know he was even a Republican, he and his wife, and he's black. I had no idea. So I had to listen to why. And I, as you get older, one of the things that we should try to impart to ourselves and others is you should listen to understand, not to respond. So I held my tongue. I listened to what he had to say, and he had some good points. At the end of the conversation, I wasn't convinced, but basically he spoke about a couple of things that Trump did that he thought were positives. And for me, it's not the few good things that Donald Trump has done, because he actually has, believe it or not. It's outweighed by so much bad. And I have to look at the balance. You can't do a couple of good things over here, but the damage over here is catastrophic. So as a black man, if I were in the middle, a moderate in the middle, I can't say that listening to arguments from both sides. I've been a lifelong Democrat, and I'm not happy with the Democratic Party either, by the way. But I am a lifelong Democrat. I can't say that I would switch just based on some of the things that he said. And in regards to Florida, so I also watched a story about 3 generations of Cuban immigrants. It was a daughter, her mother, and her grandmother. So one thing to understand...
Kevin, I was getting ready to say, hold that, because that was a big conversation I wanted to have tonight about the difference between blacks that come, or people that come from South America versus people that are from Mexico, and or
socialist places. They are scared to death of socialism. They are scared to death of socialism. And one thing Trump does is he touts anti-socialism with a hammer and a bullhorn. So a lot of these voters from these Latin American countries and from these other parts of the world, they voted for Trump because they're afraid. They don't want to go back to where they came from. As much as we complain about the United States, there are people who think this is the greatest place in the world compared to where they came from. Right. And so that's kind of the deal.
So that because I had actually put that I wanted to talk about that. So hold tight on that.
Yeah, I'll hold tight on. Yeah, let's move that.
Let me start here. The name of this segment is Win, Lose, or Draw. And actually, we've had somebody to already withdrawn themselves from the campaign. It is Kanye West. Kanye West only received 60,000 votes yesterday. And that was any place that he was on the ballot. And so, Kim, I want to know your thoughts on, Kanye's 60,000 votes, and was you one of them?
You know better than that. He was on the ballot here in Oklahoma. I did see his name on the ballot here. I have to tell you, I am very disappointed in this country today. I am very disappointed in what I woke up to. I know that I shouldn't be surprised. I have witnessed, elections before. I remember the what was going on even with the Harold Washington campaign that some of you all will remember with Bernie Epton and the racist things that were going on with that. One of the things that the Democratic Party has to do is re-examine itself, especially when trying to go after the Hispanic vote.
Yes.
To my understanding, for 2 months ago, there was not a big overhaul in Hispanic communities for the vote. And that to me is very unacceptable. Anna Navarro was on The View telling them, you all need to get down here. And this was very recently. And that is not acceptable. And so the Democratic Party must do a better job of getting out. I know that this was a pandemic, but getting out and it needs to start like 6 hours ago.
Right.
James Carville said, when does the next election start? It starts the day after the other one.
Yes, it does. Yes,
so they
it does.
get down there and stay down there. Because that to me is very unacceptable. It was very hard for Joe Biden to do this during a pandemic. But I also remember, was that last Monday? And they said he didn't have anything on his agenda. And I went and I got on Twitter and I said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but somebody in that campaign needs to get him out in front of these cameras. I know he's been out all weekend, but don't feed into the narrative of him being old and tired. And about 2 hours later, he was out in front of those cameras. So, there needs to be some re-examining here. Now, what really gets me, Donald Trump got 53% of the white women's vote. This time he got 55.
He got 55%.
Right.
He got 55 on this thing. Somebody got to explain that to me. Somebody has to explain that to me because I got nothing.
It's the same as he got 32 million votes in the last election. He's already at 30 million with the ballots still not being counted, which means he's probably going to eclipse the 32 million that he got the last time. So in effect, what you're saying and what I'm saying, and Kim and Art, we're saying, how is he doing better in terms of the vote now than he did in 2016? Well, let me tell you what happened. So the power of social media. There is a documentary that's out on PBS Frontline called The Great Divide. And what it does is it chronicles Obama from the beginning of his campaign until now. And I'm sorry, the beginning of his campaign and then his presidency, and then Trump coming in after him. And it shows you how calculated social media and things like Breitbart, Fox News, these are all very influential platforms. I mean, they are reaching people with some incredible untruths, some incredibly inaccurate information, propaganda, the most propaganda I think I've seen in my whole lifetime. And these things are all actually impacting a lot of people who continue to come on every week. A judge actually ruled that on Fox, I can't think, what's his name? I can't think of the guy. I can't stand anybody on Fox, but this guy I really can't stand. Tucker Carlson. A judge ruled that he could not be sued for something because what he talks about on his show, and I quote the judge directly, cannot be considered news because he's delivering mostly inaccurate information. And yet Fox has tons of shows. They have tons of followers. And so what's happening is that people are beginning to listen to this because you guys remember just 30 years ago, there's only 3 ways you get your message out: television, radio, and some type of video recording if you were lucky. And that was it. Now you have so many different channels, so many different options that you are bombarded with on a daily basis. And that's how Donald Trump is reaching a lot of these different women, these women, African Americans, everybody. That's it.
And I get that. I get all of that. My whole thing is the immorality of this man.
Sure.
The plain immorality of him. The way he talks about John McCain, the way he talked about Representative John Dingell, who had just died, the way he calls women dogs. I could go on and on and on, and we could be on here all day. but just the plain immorality of him. It is just, it's sickening that is okay for people. It boggles my mind. It
Kim,
boggles my mind.
Kim, what do you think? What don't you weigh in on this?
You talking about K Renee?
I'm sorry, Kay. Well, why don't you weigh in on this?
Well, one, I was not surprised at the statistic, because white women will always be by their man. So if the man's gonna vote for Trump, they're gonna vote for Trump. Although they will say outwardly, because you've heard about talks of the shy Trump voters and the shy Biden voters. Well, white women, which is really amazing to me. And you're right, Kim, because as a woman, there is no way another man is going to call me nasty. Another man's going to call me a monster. Another man's going to call any type of negative connotation. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to vote for you. You must be out of your effing mind. That will not happen. But because we as Black women, particularly, and I'm sure there were probably a few sisters that voted for Trump. He had the two crazy women, Diamonds and I don't know.
Silk.
Thank you.
Diamond and Silk.
They probably voted for Trump.
Candace Owen. Candace Owen is another one.
Yes, her too. But overall, I mean, I wasn't surprised at all. I really was disappointed the fact that Biden could not reach out to that demographic, because that is, when you look at the suburban, a lot of these cities, these states that are having suburbs, that's where he's attracting the vote. These urban centers like Atlanta, Philadelphia, now with Arizona, that's still too close to call. He's attracting the urban, but the rural and the suburbanites, that's the key demographic that he should be attracting. But to answer your question, Kevin, I wasn't surprised. I will tell you, I was surprised as being close, because the bottom line is these pollsters, they need to go somewhere, because they were wrong again.
Really.
They did the same craziness in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. Everybody thought that Hillary was going to win. The pollsters said, "Oh, she got this," and you know what happened. So they did it again yesterday. They need to just hang it up and just be quiet.
I think the only pollster that was correct was the closest was Frank Luntz, who is a seasoned pollster. Even Nate Silver of 538 didn't get it very accurate, although he got it almost accurate the last time. John King needs to take that map on CNN and throw it in the way. I mean, really, it's just I don't know what's going on with the pollsters. I don't know if it's because more people have cell phones, so you're not getting a larger demographic. That may be the issue, but they really need to look into the whole polling thing.
Well, definitely, as far as it relates to Republican voters, and especially those Trump voters that are in the rural areas, they don't even really answer the phone when somebody calls. There's no real way to measure accurately or even within reason kind of where they even are, let alone what they're going to be voting. They don't even. So polling is an imperfect science. That's the first thing. The second thing, Kim, to answer your question, and here comes the truth. We have to look at the culture and where our culture is right now and what we've allowed. Donald Trump is not an accident. He didn't come out of nowhere, guys. This has been building and building. This has been building with Sarah Palin. This has been building since before this. This is not a shock. The Tea Party. None of this is a shock. Breitbart News, all of this stuff. This is not a shock. Where we are and our culture has allowed for what we have now. And he basically reflects a large part of what our culture is. He's uncouth. He's uneducated. He's profane. He's sexist. He's racist. That's what we are today. People don't want to admit, because we've all been conditioned about the red, white, and blue. It's the greatest marketing machine I've ever seen in my life. It's better marketing than Beyonce. Better marketing than Beyonce.
Why? Hey, get up off of Beyonce. Get off of B now. Get off of B. Get off of B.
Oh, got someone from the
Don't
Bayhive.
let me have to
Bayhive in
call
the building.
Please don't let me have to call
Bayhive's in the building.
Yes, I'm sorry. I
You
was
have
sleeping, then I woke up when you said
that's okay, brother. I apologize. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't mean any harm.
All right.
You have to look at a country that you have to really look at the history. And this summer, I spent a lot of time studying the history of the United States of America. When you start looking at what this country was based on and what it was built on, and I don't just mean slavery, I mean it's built on violence,
colonialism.
It's built on colonialism. It's built on intimidation, corruption. It's built on materialism. It's built on so many imperfect elements that are ingrained in the DNA of this country that this was bound to happen one day, that we would have a president that reflects what my mother always likes to say, that she says, Kevin, I really noticed that you've changed a lot. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot. You had me in upper middle class schools, and first song I ever learned in my life was "My Country 'Tis of Thee," "Sweet Land of Liberty." I mean, I was doing the whole thing. But what they don't teach you is that this is a very imperfect nation, and it's built imperfectly. It's built imperfectly, and the Constitution is an idea. And my mother likes to say, "Well, son, you have to remember that that's an idea. Ideas are great, but they're nothing unless you can actually implement what they are supposed to represent." And the Constitution has never fully lived up to its promises. And that's it. That's all. There's no more, oh, well, we're going to get there. Oh, hopefully we're going to, kumbaya and all of that stuff. I mean, there's no reason in the world we should be in 2020 still talking about gerrymandering, still talking about voter suppression, still talking about voter intimidation. It's 2020, and these are 60-year-old problems, which are really 100-year-old problems. So this is where we are in the culture. The pandemic has been a mirror that has allowed us to really see the nation for what it truly is. And now we have to admit that. And you can't fix something until you admit it, until you are accountable. And so now we see the real America. And that's what caught so many people by surprise yesterday. But these are the same people who were criticizing me for watching these Trump press conferences. I watch them because I want to see what he says. I want to hear what he says. I want to hear what his staff is saying. I want to be informed. I want to take it all in so that I can understand exactly what's happening. And if you don't do that, you're asking for trouble, and you're asking for what happened yesterday where people are clutching their pearls. Hey, look, this was going to happen. I saw this come in earlier this year. He already told us he was going to contest the vote. He has told us every single thing he's done. He told us it was going to happen if you just pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we got to do that. As African Americans, guys, we are really, we have what one of my spiritual advisors calls, we still have a plantation mindset. There are two big problems that we have as African Americans. Number one, we are still trying to sit at a table that was not made for us, and they don't want us to. Let's just be honest about it. Let's just keep it real. They do not want us at this table. They did not want us as equals when we were slaves. After they freed us, they didn't want us as equals. They don't want us as equals now. Number two, we're always looking for a savior. We have a savior complex. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, and I'm a big believer in God and Jesus, but I think we've taken that vision. And so somebody's always going to come and fix the problem, or someone's always going to say, we can't look at our elected officials to save us because they're operating within an imperfect system. They can't help us. We have to do it. We have to start establishing our own platforms. We have to start our own wealth. Generating our own wealth. We have to start, and Malcolm X said it best, we got to do our own thing. That's where we have to be. And so otherwise we're going to keep expecting someone to save us.
But then, Kevin, I have to beg a different, and Kim, I'm going to come to you next. We've been given the opportunities and chances, and what happened? We used to own BET. We don't own BET anymore.
Right.
We used to own Ebony and Jet magazine. We don't own those anymore. And most of our Black businesses are barely staying afloat as it is now. And God forbid if it's a restaurant or anything affected by this pandemic. Kim, what were you going to say?
what I want to say is I understand exactly what Kevin is saying about building our own wealth and doing our own thing, but we still have to work within this system. And so
Mm-hmm.
part of that is, and I think I talked about this on this show, is doing things from the grassroots. And that is knowing who our local state reps are, knowing who our state Senate people are, knowing who our two senators are, knowing who our representatives are, who the sheriff is, the state's attorney, the governor, all of these things.
All the
Because
judges, who
those
the
affect
judges
us
are, all of
more.
that.
Exactly. Those
Right.
affect and also knowing a lot about those initiatives that are on the
Yes,
ballot as well.
that's
Those
right.
affect us
That's right.
even more than the
Then
presidency,
the
except in the
national
case.
election, exactly.
Right. And so we
Yeah.
really have to, we have here in Oklahoma, we're going to have the first Muslim state rep here. A young
Mm.
lady who
Wow.
started from the ground, worked her way up, and now she's in the state Congress. And so those are the things that we need to do. We had a record number of people who voted in this election. We need to keep that same intensity up. That same
Mm-hmm.
intensity for the mid-year elections, that same intensity for the special elections, if
That's
we
right.
Mm-hmm.
really want to get change done. So we really have to keep up this momentum because all elections count. We can stay in
Right.
line for the presidential election in 5 hours. We can do it for the congressional, for the state
That's
reps,
right.
and for the other elections. We have to do that.
Right. And what something else that people don't realize is that the Latino demographic in 5 years is going to be the largest demographic in this country.
Yes,
They're
sir.
going to
Yep.
represent the largest
Yep.
demographic in this
Yep.
country. And
Yep.
trust me, they're very well aware of that. Trust
Yep.
me, they
Mm-hmm.
will be moving their agendas
Mm-hmm.
forward, and we'll still be sitting here 5 years later, still complaining about the same things that we've been complaining about forever. And Art, to your point, you are 100% correct that we've had these opportunities, but what you have to look at is that two things happen historically when we've had our own wealth and we've had our own property and we've had things like Tulsa, the Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Wall Street.
Right.
Those things were taken from us, and we never recovered from so many different barriers that have been thrown up. And the other thing is, and I have to keep going back to this, is what I call the plantation mindset, which says, right now in this moment, I'm going to satisfy those urges in the moment. I'm not going to think long term. I can't imagine being patient and thinking long term about, saving up this or saving up money or going in with a couple of other people and we going to buy a gas station or whatever. We have to get out of this plantation mindset that has been prevalent amongst African Americans. We are the only race that cannot come together. Everybody else manages to be able to do it, but us. And it is a mindset. It's not about resources. It's not about talent. It's not about any of that. It is simply about a mindset that we have to get out of. That somehow someone owes us something. Somehow that someone's going to save us, and somehow we can't work together. We got to stop that. Until we stop that, we're never going to make it. Because now you have people mad at each other because black men did that. I saw a post where a woman said, "Those are the same black men who date white women." No, it's not. It's not true at all.
Well, people been mad at me. Look, people been mad at me for years, but I've been saying that I'm a white woman. I've been saying not a care in the world. I don't want to worry about, but I can't live like that. You know what I'm saying? But really, in my
Right.
Right,
mind, I'm a white woman and been a white woman for years. I just have
right,
always said it's the circumstances and situations I'm around that has taken me out of my white woman element. But for years, I've envied the white woman for I don't know how long, and I know that's good and bad to say, but the white woman, she has no worries, no fears. Somebody will come along and save her and make it all good for her. Black women have always got the struggle. We as black men have always got the struggle. It's just forever a
right,
struggle with us.
right. But again, a lot of that is our own fault. It's not as though we are not the most talented people on the planet. It's not as though we're not the strongest. We've endured the most. We have an amazing range of versatility in terms of our ability to adjust and adapt. It's not like we don't have the tools. We just don't use the tools. We just don't use them. And we have a real thing about working together. We got a real problem with that. And that goes back to the plantation. Two guys are in the plantation, and one guy says, "Hey, man, we going tonight. We running tonight. We running north. We want freedom, and we getting out of here. You coming with us?" "Oh, man, master, this good here, man. You know, I got a roof over my head. I got food. He gave me a pig. He gave me a little land out back. I ain't going nowhere." We still think that way. Yep. Listen to 50 Cent. Listen to 50 Cent talk and tell me that that's not a conversation that could have been had back in Roots. You know, it's the same thing. I'm voting for Donald Trump because he gonna protect my money. I'm just like, you know, that's our problem. We have that problem. Lil Wayne, Offset. I could just keep naming. I could just keep naming the high-profile celebrities. Kanye. I just keep naming the high-profile celebrities. These are celebrities that can make a difference. These are people who could make a difference if they spoke to their followers and we were giving each other the proper advice.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I do. I ladies, any other feedback? Anybody want to add anything to this? Right.
The only thing I want to say is that, go ahead. Go
ahead.
I just want, you know, I'm a member of the Democratic Party. I have voted for Republicans from time to time, but I just want things to get back to normal. And I don't mean and of course I'm talking about the pandemic, but I just want to get to a place where we can start really talking about issues. There are some people that are really hurting out here. Yeah. They are really hurting out here right now. The poverty level is going straight up. There are people who are in food lines for days, for hours and hours. There are people who are not getting proper housing. There are children who are not being taught correctly because the teachers are not getting paid right because the schools do not have the funding to pay them. So we got some real issues here. And for us to have someone in office who we have to feel like is a kindergartner, it's just not good. And for half of the country to say that this is okay is sick. It is a sickness. It is a mental illness. So somehow, some way, we have got to crack into this mental illness and find out what the heck is really going on. Because I have to tell you, we cannot afford 4 more years of Trump or anyone like him.
That's right.
We can't take it. We can't. We're not going to be able to. We're not going to be able to go another year. 4 more years. We're not going to make it another year.
That's right.
We lost several Senate seats. We lost some good people. Jamie Harrison in North Carolina. The young lady that Mike Epsy in Mississippi. There was a gentleman in Tennessee. My brother's classmate Raphael Warnock is going into a runoff in Georgia. So I hope that we help Reverend Raphael out. But you know, we've really got to get on the ball about who is representing us as a country, because that kind of person that's there on 1600 Black Lives Matter Plaza, we can't have that anymore. We just can't do it. It is dangerous. It is costing us thousands and thousands of lives with this. When you have bad leadership, this is what happens. The coronavirus. So that's just my opinion.
So somebody had a great point. Have any of you all read? Look at the screen. Our guest is wondering. Studied Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Neely
the ISIS papers.
Yes,
the ISIS papers.
Yeah, that was just actually recommended to me by my spiritual advisor. Said I need to consult that and avail myself to study her.
So what do you all think is next? I mean, okay, let's say Donald Trump does win. Kevin, you say you give it a year. Kim, you said we couldn't do 4 more years. Kay Renee, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. What would we want from him? What would be our platinum plan? And not that we are the speakers of all Black people, or people in general, but I do think the 4 of us probably do represent quite a bit of a broad range of demographics. You know what I'm saying? As far as not just being Black, but our lifestyles, our spending habits,
Right.
all of that. What do you
Well,
think?
first thing, Art, I think he needs to come up with a plan regarding the Affordable Cares Act. He has been talking, yammering about having a different. He wants to dismantle Obamacare. All right, fine. Then you need to come up with a serious plan on what to do with Americans who have pre-existing conditions. Period.
Mm-hmm.
He's not done anything about that. And with this virus, he keeps doubling down about this virus. More people are going to die. And it seems like he doesn't give a damn. So for me, health wise, he needs to come up with a substantial health care plan. And then, he wants all the schools and everything to open. All right, then the next thing, having a good economic stimulus plan that will be available to everybody, small businesses, so we can be able to build this country back up again. Because, it's just really, it's sad, every day, we're here in Chicago. We have a mayor who is really, and a governor who's really taken seriously about this pandemic. But restaurants, as Art indicated, they're closing by the day, and we don't know whether or not they're going to reopen again. So how can we really build ourselves up to have the mindset, not to have the plantation mindset, Kevin, that you spoke of, but to have a serious wealth mindset if we can't get started up from the ground zero? So two things for me, a bountiful economic stimulus plan, and really talk about his health plan that he keeps saying that I'm gonna bring it back tomorrow. I'm gonna have it in a couple weeks. Stop saying that stuff.
Tammy talking about Trump's plan is the aluminum foil plan. Right. Duct tape and aluminum foil. I don't know. I don't.
It's not
Kim,
even that. It's not even that good.
No,
right. Kim, where are you with all of this?
The first thing that needs to happen is we have got to, Kay Renee touched on this, we've got to get a handle on this pandemic.
That's the first thing.
Above anything else.
That's the first thing.
We have got to get whoever is the person who's going to be president of the next 4 years. The first thing they need to do is have a Zoom call, not a super spreader meeting, but a Zoom call with all 50
the
governors.
Yes.
And come up with a plan. Maybe it's mask mandatory, whatever it is, to get a hold of this pandemic. Nothing can go forward until we get a handle on that.
Right.
Everything else is secondary.
Right.
It really is. The stimulus plan, you're absolutely right, Kay Renee, really has to come. They should have passed it before. The fact that they could get this lady on the Supreme Court but not get a stimulus plan is an abomination.
Right.
It really is.
It really is.
And so that that is, for me, everything else is secondary.
But
it's
the hard part,
harboring
Kim,
me from
is the fact that he's not even acknowledged. Well, I was going to say the hard part, he won't even acknowledge about this virus. He thinks that it's going to.
He's making jokes about it.
Right.
It's not funny. It is not funny. It's just, okay. That's my thing. We got to get a hold of this pandemic because nothing else can go forward until we do that. Nothing.
Right.
Kevin, being a Black man that's been in business for a number of years and working with a number of entertainers and business-minded people, what do you think is the situation?
Well, I think the first thing is that we have to look within our community. Well, let me say the very first thing. As Kim said, we have to acknowledge that the pandemic is calling the shots. That's the bottom line here. And America's not used to that. America is used to something you can throw money at or bullets at. And this is not that. This is not either. So we have to acknowledge that. And then there has to be a cohesive national plan that allows for our businesses and allows for the areas that we're lacking in to be built back up again or to be propped back up again. In Canada, they were paying people $2,000 a month. And we're sitting here waiting for $2,400 one-time payment, two $1,200 payments. That's what we have to look higher. And I think that Kim said it best. Our elected officials are really, really negligent. They're very negligent because it doesn't bother them, really. It's been all political jockeying regarding a stimulus plan. The national deficit is already at a historic high. That's
Right.
it. Just is. You're not going to
Right,
get
right,
around that. So
right.
so 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 let's just take that off to the side. Without the American people, and this is what happens to most empires. When you start to read about the Roman Empire and others, you understand that the disparity between the rich and the middle class and the working class, the larger that gets, the more dangerous it becomes that the country itself or the empire itself is going to collapse. This economic disparity in this country, in San Francisco alone, for example, the disparity between wealth and the middle class and the working class is the equivalent of a third world country. And America, in about 3/4 of the qualifications for a third world country, America now ranks in those, from economics to race relations to the economy to all those different things that you measure, politically, the division. We now rank with third world countries. That's worldwide. Sad. That is the perception that we have actually are moving towards, and we're not done yet because we still have there's still some businesses that are barely hanging on. The economy's barely hanging on. That number that you guys see for the unemployed, that's not an accurate number because it doesn't take into account the women who decided that they're not going to work because they're at home with their kids helping them with school.
Because that's a whole nother high number too. That's a
whole nother high number. Yeah. So that's actually the numbers of unemployment are almost double what we're looking at.
Right.
That's 7% or 7.9%. It's really not that. It's much higher. So we still have some things that are still in play. So in terms of solutions, again, it's sad, and I think Kim touched on this. Lindsey Graham should not be in office. There's no way.
No.
McConnell should not have.
McConnell should not be in office at all.
How Kentucky is one of the worst states in the nation in terms of poverty, in terms of the poverty line, in terms of the economy, in terms of job. And he can't even fix his own state yet. He is helping make decisions for the whole country. And to your point, the Democratic Party has to get a lot stronger. The Democratic Party of my mother and my grandmother, this is not that Democratic Party anymore. Nancy Pelosi is not the person to me. Chuck Schumer is not the person to me. They could not corral this president. They could not flip the seats they needed to flip. And they spent more money this year than they ever have. They still have twice as much money as the Republicans and still couldn't flip. We need to really get people like AOC and some of these other young Democrats, and let's get them and turn them loose, because that's what we really need.
I'm a Pelosi girl. As my dad says, she got a pair on her, and she does not let anybody push her around. And I like it,
but she needs to be effective. She needs to be more effective.
Well, I think that she will be in the next Congress. I think that she has been effective. And I like the fact that she doesn't let this president push her or anybody else around.
Mm-hmm. You like my mom. My mom loves Nancy Pelosi. I can't say nothing about Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, I do. I love Nancy Pelosi.
She loves Nancy Pelosi.
So
I'm like, give me some rebels.
Mitch McConnell, his wife. How old is she? Did you
Elaine Cho?
Oh,
Elaine Cho?
She look like a porcelain doll. How old is she? Because whatever she has done, he need to do.
It's too late for that.
Look it up for you.
Look, when you look at her, she ain't got a wrinkle, a blemish. I mean, her
she's 67. She's 67.
Well, again, good Asian don't crack. Or either she done had something done. Because she looks great.
It's too late for bro. His hand was turning black like the Emperor in Star Wars.
Right.
He on his way out.
That's right.
So they're saying that Trump called the GOP governors today and was very angry with them.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
He made a very angry
I
phone
think,
call.
and
Because
I
I guess
think they
they didn't produce. You know, some of them did not campaign with him because of the virus.
And I think they
he was
did
very
flip.
upset about that.
Didn't they flip? Didn't the Democrats flip Arizona? If I'm not mistaken, that's
There's
in now.
It is very.
The Senate, yes.
Right now, yeah, it's 50%. That's my parents out there.
Okay.
It's 50% for Arizona right now. So I told him,
Right,
I said, Dad, I
but
need you and Mom.
But to Kevin's point, though, Kim, Mark Kelly did win the Senate seat and beat McSally.
Yes.
So yes, they did flip, but we're still waiting on. I think the last count when I looked, 600,000 ballots are left count in Arizona. They haven't called Arizona to Biden yet. So he really needs Arizona and Nevada. He can get those two, he's going to hit 270. And
or some combination thereof. I think he needs Pennsylvania and Nevada, or he needs any two to get it, if I'm not mistaken.
He really doesn't need Pennsylvania. Well, I was saying about Pennsylvania, he can go without it, but I know with Arizona, Nevada, let me look at it. And North Carolina is still too close to call. And of course, Georgia. It's still too close.
And we got Michigan, right? Didn't we flip Michigan?
He got Michigan. He got Michigan. He got Michigan and Wisconsin, of which Idiot in Chief now is filing a lawsuit saying that any ballots that were collected after today or should not be counted. Well, with the mail-in ballots, as long as it's postmarked November 3rd, they should be counted. And he's already made a claim in Pennsylvania, and he pushed with the United States Supreme Court. They pushed it back down to the lower court, and they were like, "No, we're not gonna worry about this now." He filed a lawsuit again, so he's doing what is called the kitchen sink approach. He's throwing everything possible so he can make sure to cause disruption. I mean, I wasn't up. I was telling Art earlier when I went to bed at 10:30. I heard when I woke up, he was on, telling, I've won this race, falsely saying, and he wants the count stop. He can't stop that. Period.
Well,
what's going to happen?
Real quick, somebody help me with the McConnell wife. She has a position in the cabinet, and she comes from a wealthy family. She must come from that Asian face cream family, because I'm telling you, she was on that TV. Baby,
she was Secretary of Transportation, I think, in the Bush administration. If I would, because I knew who she was. I was surprised she married old Moscow Mitch. Shoot, I didn't know.
Baby, all I know is she looked really good. Her skin was tight. Everything. I thought that was Madam Butterfly standing next to him today. I was like, she looked really great. She did. She looked wonderful. So shout out to Mitch McConnell's wife. You ain't got to worry about getting another man once he dies. You'll be all right. You'll be fine. I'm telling you, because honey, she looked good.
She may hook up with Erica James. Say, hey, let's go get somebody young.
Right. Who knows? Well, CNN just released their fact check, and they said almost everything Trump has said after Election Day has been wrong.
A lie. Everything.
They said wrong. You said lie.
Is that surprising? A lie. That hasn't been his MO throughout the campaign. And that's why, to Kim's point, why 55% of white women would even vote for this man who is misogynistic, sexist. Let's not forget when he ran the first time, talked to Billy Bush and Access Hollywood, talking about grabbing women by the you-know-what. But they voted for him. And he likes attention. He thinks the White House is a reality show. That's the problem. He doesn't have any seriousness about what has happened 4 years later.
When you guys get a chance, you should look up the Dunning-Kruger effect. It gives a real definition of Trump supporters and followers and their the mentality of his followers. Is actually a psychological condition called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And then, of course, education goes a long way in terms of your ability to make decisions and receive information and process logic. He's got 73% of his followers aren't even really college educated or educated. And I'm not saying a degree makes you a genius, but they haven't gone to the point where they're open to logic, to the point where they're open to ideas or open to the possibility that something isn't true. They identify with him and they continue to follow him. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's fascinating to read. Fascinating.
Kevin, that Dunning-Kruger effect, do they compare it to Jim Jones at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Because because they identify. See, Trump plays himself as a victim all the time. So they identify with that victim mindset. So when he says the news media is out to get me, they say, yeah, I've gone through that in my life too. Yeah, I believe that's true. So this is the guy I'm going to support. It is a real identification that occurs with his followers, and it is very cult-like. And to your point, it is very cult-like, and it's disturbing. And so when people like you, myself, Kay Renee, and Art, we're sitting here trying to make sense of it. We can't make sense of it because we don't think that way. We don't operate that way. It's really fascinating. But again, that's America. If you were to ask every American thinks they're smart. Every American thinks they're educated. Every American thinks but that's not this country. A good part of this country has not had the proper education. A good part of this country cannot read or write. A good part of this country does not have morals or values. A good part of this country is still dealing with stereotypes that they've been taught generationally. A good part of this country is messed up. It is really. I was called a darky on Facebook 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know people still use the term darky. Like I heard that in 30 years.
They use a few other terms too, Kevin. Trust and believe that.
Right. I've been called all of them. Trust me. I've been called all of them. See, I jump head first into these Facebook groups and some of these Facebook posts that have to do with Trump, and I jump head first in and I go head to head with these followers. So I have a real good feel. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, but I get a real good sense of where this country is. So I'll never be shocked by what happens ever.
Right.
Ever.
You would have to have a thick skin, Kevin, because, to hear I think America really, after this election, has really exposed herself for who she is. And
absolutely.
I think the sad part, because most Jewish Americans, they can relate when they were, had family members in the Holocaust, and everybody just apologized. No one has really apologized to African Americans. Say, you know what, we are truly sorry for enslaving you for 400 years. No one has ever acknowledged that. And I think until, like everything, when you're an alcoholic, when you're an addict, you need to be accountable and admit that you have a problem. America on its face needs to admit that they've had problems for over 400 years and how they've done not only Native Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans. They need to acknowledge that. And once you can acknowledge that you've had the problem, that is, and only then will healing start. Period.
And solutions. That's the only way. But see, this is what happens. A George Floyd happens, and we put our feet on the gas. Excuse me, and then we let up, and then we let up every time. There's never a real consistent effort to move forward. And I saw when the gas was coming off. I saw when social media was starting to come down and slow down. And we had police reform, and we had stuff in the Senate, and we had an anti-lynching bill in the Senate, and we were going to do all these great things, and now you haven't heard about any of them.
Right.
That George Floyd moment, that was our moment. That was a real moment that we did not take advantage of. And now we see what happens.
Yeah.
Very true.
Watika made a very valid point. Bill Clinton apologized. He said slavery was wrong, and she's right.
Well, we always thought Bill Clinton was our first Black president. So,
Right.
I'm just saying.
We know
I mean,
it was wrong.
We
To
know
say
it's
it's wrong
wrong.
doesn't do anything for us.
Exactly.
To say it was wrong is great, but unless you can carry that through with some real plausible solutions, and actually, guys, Ice Cube's plan is a great plan. The contract for Black America is actually a great plan. The problem is it'll never get implemented. That's the real deal. It's not going to get implemented. It's a great plan. It's very similar to the plan they had for the Jews in the Holocaust and those reparations. It's literally the same plan for businesses taking monies and putting them into neighborhoods and things of that nature. But it's not going to get implemented. This right here, this table, they don't want us sitting at that table. We're too talented. We're too beautiful. We're too smart. We're too much of a threat. They don't want us there.
Too strong. That's right.
Too strong. They don't want us there. They don't want us there, guys.
Right.
And that's why we have to make our own tables. We have to truly come together and really, and not only just come together, be consistent. That's one thing, even relationships, you want, I don't believe in apologies. I believe in patterns, but you got to be consistent.
Right.
If all of us can come together and be consistent about our message, that's when really change can happen. And, regardless what happens in the election, if it's, Biden or Trump, we got to come together and have our own economic way. Yep. Golden Biden.
What is he holding up? What you holding up?
These are Golden Biden cereals.
That's Golden Biden cereal.
This is Joe Biden cereal. And then this one is Trump cereal.
Lucky Trump.
This one gives you hemorrhoids. This one make you constipated. This one has no fiber in it. See, no fiber. Nothing.
No good stuff.
The only fiber in there is hair strength.
Where did you even get this? Like, where did you buy this?
I did not. These were gifted to me by the creator of these collector item boxes. They were on the show about a week or so ago. My friend Dapo, who owns City Spoons. These are collector's items, and they have real cereal. And if we don't get another stimulus check, I'm gonna sell whoever loses. Whoever loses, and whoever win, I'm gonna eat the fruit of their labors. I hope it ain't this one because I need fiber. I'm at that age now where I got to be regular, and I know this Trump stuff is gonna make me constipated.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna keep you full of.
Hot air and all of that.
There's no question about that.
And I'm trying to be slim. I'm trying to be trim for my birthday. I ain't trying to be full of hot air. Right. I need to have fiber. Yes. Good old fiber in my diet. Yes.
Absolutely. But part of what I was talking about earlier also, guys, is that along with the change in the mindset, I think the most basic problem we have with each other is trust. You're going to get something I'm not going to get. We have to, it was in my post today, I talked about the fact that during the civil rights era, they fought because they had no choice. Either we're going to fight for it or we're going to die for it. It's one or the other. And I think we as people do better together, whether it's a sports team, whether it's in the office, whatever. If I feel that you have as much to lose as I do, and we're in it together, you have as much to gain as I do, and we're in it together. Until we can get that type of a mindset, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be sitting here in 5 years while the Latino community rockets right past us. And we're going to be sitting here looking at what happened. That's what Ice Cube really was trying to say. He said, this is the contract for Black America, not people of color. He said, because we will be sitting here, and the next thing you know, we're going to be still dealing with the same issues that have been here for hundreds of years. Basically, at this point, we're now getting into hundreds of years of the same types of issues. That makes absolutely no sense.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. Well, what I want to do is, let me do this real quick while we have our audience. Tomorrow night is Relationship Thursday, and tomorrow evening we're going to have a all Scorpio celebration. Every guest who's going to be on the show tomorrow night, is a Scorpio. And we're going to talk about why are scorpions the most misunderstood, but yet desired zodiac in the world.
That's true.
We are the most misunderstood now, but we're the most desired. And so tomorrow night, the whole show. So please tune in if you've ever dealt with a Scorpio, if you have a child that's a Scorpio, anything that has to do your ex-mate that was a Scorpio, if the best sex you ever had was with a Scorpio, all of that. Tune in tomorrow night. I have some amazing Scorpios that'll be by tomorrow night, male, female, all walks of life. And we're going to talk about being a Scorpio tomorrow night. Yes. Yes.
A relationship show. I know you're not going to call me for that. I haven't been on a date since J.R. Ewing and Sue Ellen were on television.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so
I know
funny.
I'm not going to be on that show.
Right. No, and you're not a Scorpio either. So that's why I can't have you on, because you're not a Scorpio. So
I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra, and I'm a Libra. October 19th, I just barely missed Scorpio by like a couple of days.
You on the cusp, Kevin. You may have some Scorpion traits, but you on the cusp.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It hasn't helped me, but I've got them.
You know what? That's so funny. Yesterday, no, not yesterday, a couple of days ago and yesterday, I've been running into people that, you kind of maybe have talked to and kind of, didn't anything work out, but you have great conversation because you ran back into them. I guess nobody is having sex right now, especially people that have not been with somebody. That's like often nobody's wanting to hook up with nobody because, again, COVID, STDs are on the uprise. And then why would I just want to get with you because it's a pandemic? Let's wait until it's all over to see who's going to survive, right?
Right. They're kind of like the Walking Dead. An episode of The Walking Dead. You got to see who's left at the end of the season. That's kind of how that show works.
That's right.
And actually, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. I am kind of seeing somebody, and we actually went out. This is a true story. She called me the day, like it was a Saturday. She said, "What are you doing this evening?" I said, well, I tried to act like I had a whole bunch to do, right? Let me check my calendar. Oh, gee, I'm available. So she actually picked me up. We went to the jazz showcase and we saw a beautiful jazz show. And that was the weirdest experience because you could only have a certain number of people in the venue. They couldn't serve us alcohol. It was a really weird date. And dating during this time is really very different. It is very different, and that's something that's a whole nother Chat Daddy show. That the dating during the pandemic.
Evan, that is a show that we can do really soon. I think that would be a great show because you're right. Because there are only so many places now, and then with people not being able to sit inside, that's gonna make it hard. Yeah, and then do you have somebody over to your house that you're just dating?
Right.
So, all right.
And you see K Renee. She said,
Oh yeah, K Renee.
I've seen that face. I've seen that face many times.
And I'm reading Miss Kim face. She like hell to the no.
I don't know. I'm trying to look up and figure out the definition of what's these dates you all. What is this dates? What is that? What is that?
That's a whole nother show.
I don't know.
I almost didn't know how to. Trust me, I almost didn't even know how to act on this thing. And we actually had been dating. She's actually a microbiologist, so she's been on the front lines of this whole thing. Wow. So we haven't really seen each other consistently since March or February. So it was cool because we've talked on the phone, but it's also that you guys know that's different when you get in person with somebody. It's so it was very awkward. It was just, and I got my mask on. Oh, you look really good. She said, "What'd you say?" I'm trying to give her my best James Bond stuff, and it's not working because my mask isn't. So it's very awkward. Art, we should do the show. We should try to do it.
Yes.
All right. I'm in agreement. All right. Very good. Well, it's time for us to close out tonight's show. Tonight's show has been absolutely incredible. Kim, I'm gonna let you give your closing and final thoughts, because I know you sitting around waiting on these election results. You want us to, you know what I'm saying, Kim? I know this is giving you all kind of grief. So go right
The
ahead.
political junkie that I am, right? Well, first of all, Art, I want to say thank you for having me on again. Like I told you the last time I was on, my mother didn't say anything about me being on, but she just said, I love a chat daddy. I was like, well, what about your daughter? So I think she's watching right now. So
hello,
just want to encourage everyone. My podcast is called Sister Girl Speaks. You can see it on most platforms. You can find me on Facebook. In my latest podcast, I talk about getting through this pandemic and the tools that you should use in getting through this pandemic. So I ask that you listen to my podcast, Sister Girl Speaks, and send me some feedback. As I always state, pray to God about your problems. Pray to the Father. He is your Father. He wants to hear from you. And then praise God until he opens that door. Praise him in the hallway. Praise him for what he's done and praise him for what he's getting ready to do. And then push towards it is what you want. The woman with the issue of blood didn't just wait for Jesus to heal her. She made her way through the crowd and pulled the hem of his garment. After she did that, Jesus said, woman, you are healed. So push towards what you want. Pray, praise, and push. I love you all. I love you all. I love you all. And things are going to get better.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Brother Kevin, can you follow up behind that sister, and then we'll let Kay Renee close us on out? Very good.
That's hard. That's hard to follow up on. She said the magic word, God. She said God. Yes. That's the magic word. One of the things that for me that has been that I'm the proudest of during this is my relationship with God has gotten so amazing. It's so much stronger. And I just, that's something that I needed to work on before this happened. So I can't say that this has been a bad thing completely for me. That relationship with God is where you're able to cast your cares on him. That relationship with God is where you're able to hear his voice speaking to you about what you're supposed to do. It's made me a better man. It's made me a better person. I would suggest meditation. I would suggest prayer. And I would just suggest, and let's be a little more patient with each other. That's something else that one of my advisors has told me, man, we need to be a little more patient with each other. We're going through a lot right now. You don't know what the person next to you is going through. Let's be a little more patient with each other. I think we've had a very hectic presidency and national leadership that's very hectic. So we've kind of reflected that. I think let's kind of get ourselves back, and understand that we are all in this together. I say that a lot. I say it a lot, and I'll say it again. We're all in the same boat. This pandemic has been the great equalizer. Let's understand that, and let's kind of be patient with each other. That's it. Peace.
Very good. All right, Madam Kay Renee, go right ahead and close us out with that nugget of wisdom or knowledge and wisdom.
First, Art, as always, my brother, thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you and to be on this platform. Miss Kim, oh my goodness, I'm just so blessed to be in your presence. I'm looking forward to listening to your podcast. And Kevin, we will definitely connect.
Absolutely.
You've given me truth, and that's what I'm all about is truth. And like both Kevin and Kim, I want to say to the audience, this will come. We are growing through this experience. 2020 is not only the year of the pivot, but the year of reset. And I really want all of you to think about how you're going to reset your life at this moment. Don't worry about yesterday, because yesterday is gone. Do not worry about tomorrow, because it may never come. The thing you need to worry about right now, be concerned about, is right now in the present. So how are you going to reset your life with your family? That's what you need to be concerned about. Whenever you're getting stressed, as Art say, we got to do that woosah. Just take a breath and just let it go. Because when you can let go, you let God come in and say, I got you. Because that's what God wants. He wants us to put our fear and our troubles with him, and he'll take care of everything else. So again, I
Right.
just want to say thanks to all of you. We've got art. The four of us, we got to do this again. This has just been a
Yeah.
great
Oh,
show.
absolutely.
You know, we didn't
I
even
knew this
do
was
a
good
relationship
conversation.
with just the four of us. And my nugget for today is
I
life.
knew this would be.
I was gonna say my nugget for today is life is a journey with problems to solve, lessons to learn, but more importantly, experiences to enjoy. And this is my wise words Wednesday. Hashtag the joy is in the journey. So we're all going through a journey, whether it's COVID, whether it's all this. This is a journey, and you must find joy in it. That's it.
There it is.
Man, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree
There it
more.
is.
Well, you guys have done an outstanding job tonight. Yay! Look,
Yay!
the hell with CNN, the hell with Fox, the hell with all them. We are the new Black National Network right here, and
That's
we
right.
telling it like
That's
it
it.
is. Right.
That's
Right.
right.
We doing what's necessary. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. It has. It's been a great show tonight. I knew this would be the perfect combination to have this discussion after what we've been through for the last 24 hours. Don't forget, tomorrow night is the Scorpio show. Everything you wanted to know about a Scorpio. Should be interesting to say the least. That should be really
Yes, Lord.
interesting. Yes, yes, Lord. Amen. All right. Well, on behalf of my guest tonight, Kim in Oklahoma, thank you so very much. Mr. Kevin Ross, Hyde Park, Illinois. Kay Renee, our guest co-host, look like our permanent fixture co-host most of the time. We appreciate you. I love you guys so very much. Don't forget to take a visit over to therealchatdaddy.com, therealchatdaddy.com. Go over to YouTube and please like the Real Chat Daddy show on YouTube. Like it on Facebook. Help us out. Keep the show running. This is a effort of love. People that just want to talk, keep people entertained, do the right thing, and make it all happen. Everybody's saying great show tonight. Thank you, Leslie McKinney. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Watika, Heather. They all said that this was just a great, great show tonight. Yes, we appreciate you guys. We do. All right. On behalf of everybody, God bless. We'll talk to you guys later and have a beautiful evening. See you later. We out. Bye. Bye.